5 or 6 people that aren't here. All right. So here's the deal. If you are signed up, Emmeline used the wrong link. Tell her to go back to the Google Classroom. I think she's in the link that was for Tuesday. It's confusing. So thank you for the person that reached out and told me about Emmeline. Just tell her to log into the one that's currently at the top of the stream, so to speak. All right. Here's the thing. Everybody in this room that has signed up to take an AP exam, whether it be AP Bio or APUS, if you are not really 100% on board with taking the exam, you need to reach out to your counselor ASAP. Specifically, the one in charge of ordering your test is Summers. So if you reach out to bsummers@nwlsd.org and say, hey, in talking with my parents and really kind of assessing my ability level or whatever else, I don't think the AP test is right for me at this time. They are offering you a window of opportunity to opt out. Now, I am not encouraging that, because do realize right now, if you opt out, you may have other ramifications, meaning you may not get the AP credit. Obviously, you won't get the AP credit because you didn't take the test, but it may alter your GPA a little bit. You need to ask that question. So if you are looking to opt out, we've had a couple of people kind of say, hey, I'm not really in the right mindset right now to take this thing. I think this year they're going to kind of forego their usual standard answer about opting out and say, no, sorry, you've already signed up for it, you're in. Folks, if you're one of those people, you need to reach out ASAP, because as soon as they order your test, you're in. That's it. Okay. And they are ordering your test early April. And since April starts tomorrow, today or tomorrow would be the best day, because you know full well once you go on spring break, you're going to forget. So bottom line is here, if you need to reach out to a counselor and talk to them, and you don't have to say, hey, look, I want to opt out. You can start a dialogue with them and say, hey, look, I'm not sure if I want to take this. What is my timeline? When's the last day I can let you know? And again, Summers is the one that actually is our AP coordinator. You can still reach out to Jones and Schuler if you want, but Summers is our AP coordinator. So if you have questions, and like I said, everybody in our group is signed up for at least one, whether it be AP Bio or APUS or both. So if that's describing you, where you're like, I am just not in the mindset for this right now, and I'm not saying that this is the time to drop out if you're like, boy, I'm scared of it or whatever else. There are a lot of things that are scary. It's a friggin' test. Let it go. Okay. Step up to the plate, put on your big boy and big girl pants, and take the exam. Okay. But if you're one of those people where it's just, hey, this is a little too much for you right now, they're starting to understand that. They're starting to kind of come around to that. And the AP board is offering kind of a window of opportunity on that. Now, the other thing is, if you're one of those people that have been sitting around doing nothing all year when it came to mine, and especially my stuff, and folks, this is kind of where I turn a little bit mean in this. If you've been sitting around and putting my stuff on the back burner because, oh man, I need to do my English, and oh man, I need to do my chemistry, and I got to get my algebra 2 done, and all this other stuff. If you've been kind of pushing APUS to the last minute, and some of you absolutely were guilty this week, because I had so many emails where it's like, I didn't realize how big this bracket assignment is. This is a lot more work than I thought it would be. Yeah, well, when you log in on Sunday, or even worse, Monday morning, and find out, oh, I have to do all that, that's kind of on you. Okay, and that's not an AP or honors level student. That's somebody that waited till the last minute, and then, and this is kind of going to drive me up the wall, the amount of people that kind of reached out and went, I'm going to ask for an extension, but didn't tell me why. Now, there were a handful of you that reached out and said, look, because of this, this, and this, I'm going to need to ask for an extension, and one person was like, if you don't grant it, I totally understand, but I would really appreciate it. And that one person, it's the first time all year they've ever asked for an extension. So absolutely. And they kept on saying, well, look, I'm just going to, like, this one person, I'm not going to call them out by name because that's not fair. They turned it in and they were just like, look, I just, give me the grade that I deserve. I don't deserve the extension. I still granted that person an extension, and I hope they take it and redo it and turn it back in, because I'd much rather be done right than done at the last minute. But if nothing else, take the lesson from it that you have to start this stuff a little bit earlier than what you did. Okay. You can't just wait around till the last minute on stuff like this and then expect the teacher to just be like, oh, yeah, that's fine. I've been very understanding up until this point, but we have an exam in about a month. Okay. About a month. Some of you are going to be taking that AP exam. So it's time to start working. Okay. There are a few of you in here that you failed third quarter because you left all of my work to the last minute and it was overwhelming. You couldn't get it done. Okay. And so now fourth quarter is massively important. Now, some of you started off fourth quarters. Fantastic. You took your test, you did your bracket, you're already fine. You're on the right track, and that fourth quarter grade is going to make up for that third quarter misstep. Totally fine. But there are others of you that got a 20% third quarter and a 0 right now. How is that success? How are we working to fix that? Okay. Sorry if I'm on the soapbox, but it's getting a little old. All right. If you need help, then reach out. Those that are in person will tell you, I'll make a sarcastic comment and then we'll move on like equals. It's totally fine. Okay. I'm not going to bite your head off. This is me biting everybody's head off collectively, and only about a handful of you qualify. Okay. There are other people that have reached out for an extension who normally do not. Totally fine. Those of you that keep on doing it, after a while, you're going to run out of grace. Okay. Now, some of you, I totally understand. You've given me the reasons. You've told me why you need it. And you've given me exactly the right, emails or texts or whatever to let me know that, hey, there are problems. Totally fine. But don't just assume you get an extension. Okay. Because I had 2 people do that. I'm going to go ahead and take an extension. Thanks. That's not how that works. Okay. And if you're planning on going to college, no professor is going to respond to that. So let's learn, if nothing else, when you have to ask for an extension, notice it is an ask, and it deserves an explanation. It deserves, and look, I had people, and by the way, from now on, this is no longer an excuse, no longer. Okay. My athletes, I had a really late track meet, so I'm really tired. Okay, so you had a track meet on Monday night. Oh, I had a tennis match on Monday night, so I'm tired. You had a week. Just because you at the last minute decided to pick up my stuff, that's not an extension grantor. No. Okay, that's not good enough. So do not come at me with that type of stuff. Now, here's a different, if you've got an extracurricular. Hey, for example, right after spring break, there's the play. These people are going to be in the auditorium working on that production all the way through spring break and into that week of production. I understand that every night you've got practice, every single night. Okay. That is one of those where you might reach out and say, hey, look, I got about halfway through this, but I've had all kinds of stuff this week. Okay. That's okay. But just telling me, oh man, I'm just really tired, so I went to bed. Good for you. Somebody else stayed up. Somebody else worked that much harder than you. Okay. So it's not an excuse if you just at the last minute said, man, Monday was really, really bad. I had one person say over the weekend, they had a lot of stuff to do with their family. They explained what those things were. I'm not going to say it because it's private stuff, but they explained what they had. And they were like, hey, I was planning on doing this over the weekend, but then my parents told me I had to do this, this, and this. And we were gone. That's an excuse. That's fine. Okay. But again, and I don't need to know all the personal stuff. You don't need, please God, don't give me an autobiography. Okay. But just, hey, look, this is kind of what's going on. This is what I'm dealing with. I had some people say, look, I was called in for a double shift at work for 2 days this week. I had no chance to get around to this. And then here's the other part. When you're asking for an extension, give me your now, what is your deadline now? Okay. All right. It's due Monday night. Can you get it to me Tuesday night? Can you get it to me Wednesday night? How long is this extension going to be? Okay. So from now on, if we reach out for an extension in this or any class, it is, you start off addressing the teacher. Dear Mr. V, I hate to ask this, but is it possible to get an extension? The reason that I need it is because of a family situation, because of work situations, because I've had extracurriculars every night this week, because I had a major project that I had to work on with so-and-so for this class. And because of that, I'm falling behind. I have done about half of it, but if it's to be done well and done correctly, I need at least until Tuesday night to get it done. Sincerely, and then sign your name. That's the kind of stuff that makes a teacher go, all right, they've weighed out their options. They've told me what the problems are without getting into too much detail. You know, I had another student say, hey, look, I've been really ill. Fine, fine. You know, like, again, I don't need to know how, why, you know, please God, don't explain your illness. I don't need to know, oh man, I've been really ill in the bathroom for days. No, just ill, fine, ill, not feeling well. Okay. Again, just kind of give me a little bit of what your reasoning is behind it. Okay. And then kind of let me know. And for those of you that have had extensions granted by me, you know, I'm usually pretty fair about that. But it is getting a little old where somebody just comes along and through sheer laziness said, well, I had this, so therefore I'm going to turn it in late. A, you're not giving me a decent excuse, and B, you're assuming I'm going to grant it to you. From now on, that's not going to be granted. Okay. So that being said, I'm getting down off my soapbox. I'm sorry for kind of ranting and raving there, but you need to make sure that you do this correctly moving forward, not just this year, but in the future. And for those who plan on going to college, that's going to be a necessity if you run into a problem, because that type of communication is necessary. In those classes, they will absolutely destroy your grade if you don't. Okay. Now, other things. You have assignments over spring break. And I had a few students somewhat jokingly attack me for assigning things over spring break. Here's the problem. They were assigned this past weekend. You had this week to work on them if you wanted to. Okay. You have all of spring break to work on them. There are 2 assignments assigned to you. Okay. Now, in order to make sure that we're all on the same page here, I want to make sure that I share my screen real quick here to make sure I go through everything. First of all, you have a couple of things that have been posted here. You have a presentation, okay? Presentation video, Great Depression presentation. That's just a slideshow, just like the 1920s America down here, okay? That's just giving you notes, giving you a presentation so that you understand and can elaborate on what you have read in the textbook. Keep in mind, you should be still reading your textbook, especially you AP folks that are getting ready to take the AP exam in about a month, okay? You had your bracket activity, which a boatload of you have extensions on, but those extensions are running out because most of you were asked to get it done Wednesday, which is today, or Thursday night, depending upon your situation. Some of you got an extension, you know, a little bit longer than others, depending upon your situation. So again, make sure that you're finishing that up. You also have a Hemingway reading, okay? And this is an assignment that you have to record a flip grid. Notice I only have 2 of you that have turned this in. This is due tomorrow. So again, I don't expect it to be done now, but tomorrow I expect a lot of flip grid videos to be done. All you have to do is discuss how Hemingway's story, character, and details from the story relate to the time period of World War I and or the Roaring 20s, okay? Now, I have a background video that I recorded the other day in class that gives you the background of World War I and the extension into the 1920s. So that's giving you the background of what Hemingway is writing, the society, the political situation, everything that he is experiencing at the time that would maybe influence his writing in that short story. You then read this short story, A Big Two-Hearted River. It's a story that's unlike any other story you've read. If you've never read Hemingway, he is very different than any other writer you're ever going to read, okay? And there's a reason for that. Now, I am not expecting a doctoral thesis on Hemingway's short story and his writing. I'm not expecting that. What I am expecting is that you can kind of see some things in his writing that help to explain the time period in which he's writing. Again, if you're having issues with this, I will be at school all day tomorrow, okay? You can reach out through email. You can reach out and say, hey, look, I'm fine with having a Zoom conference after school, okay? If you need just a little bit of help to fill out this and complete your flip grid. The flip grid should be about a minute, roughly a minute. So if you turn in a 20-second flip grid, be prepared to fail the assignment. Okay, because you're not going to be able to provide that much analysis in just 20 seconds. I expect it to be professional, so don't be lying down in a bed. Don't have all the lights off in your room and, mumble your way through it. This is not the way that you do a flip grid. when you do a presentation, it should be a little bit more professional, that you're addressing the camera, that you are confidently talking. You can have notes if you want. Okay, you can have things in front of you that you're reading. You can organize your thoughts, but do not look like you just flipped open your phone and just rambled into it for a minute or so and then go, so that's my presentation. And then you're off. No, be professional in the way you present your material. So that's what the expectation is with the Hemingway Flipgrid tomorrow. Do not fall victim to giving me a 7th grade version of a presentation, because those are horrible. If I wanted to watch a 7th grade presentation, I would have taken a job down at Pleasant Run Middle School and hated my life. Instead, I'm at the high school because I expect high schoolers to not only do better than that, but also show an air of professionalism comparative to the rest of the students. So that's the expectations for that. Now, again, once you're done with the Hemingway reading, you're done with at least the work before spring break. But you will notice there were 2 spring break assignments. One was the New Deal programs. This is a very simple assignment. The New Deal programs is merely a chart. You are telling me, I've given you the programs, of which there are 15. You're telling me the year that they came into existence. So when did the AAA, the CCC, the bank holiday, the FDIC, and all of these, of course, stand for things. The Agricultural Adjustment Act, the Civilian Conservation Corps, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. All of them stand for something. They are obviously acronyms for something or abbreviations for something. You give me the year that they came into existence. You tell me if they were an act of Congress. So did Congress actually do this? Or did the president, did FDR do this through executive order? Okay. Was it a, what was the program designed to do? So what problem was it meant to address? Okay. And then the effect of the program on the Great Depression. Did it actually solve the problem? So here's the problem that you're supposed to address right here. Then you're assessing, did it actually do it? Okay, because some of these did and some of these did not, and some of them were somewhat okay. Then are they still around for today? Okay, do they still exist? Do we still have something? And it doesn't have to be the exact same thing. It may have morphed into something else, but show me that you understand the continuity of these New Deal programs. Most of these are listed in your textbook, but I also gave you this really good website, the Living New Deal, which if you go to it and go to the programs, all of these programs are listed there and have links to an article based around this, which will help to answer every one of these questions. This assignment should take you no more than an hour to complete, okay? The other assignment is the LEQ review, okay? This is literally just a list of past LEQs, okay? These stretch, and these are every single free response question that has been posed since 1970, I think it is, okay, that we've gone through and we have kind of decided to break up into units, okay? This is a great tool to review, because if you go back and say, all right, Unit 5, which was the Civil War and Reconstruction, can you answer this question? Why did the institution of slavery command the loyalty of the vast majority of antebellum whites, despite the fact that only a small percentage of them owned slaves? Now, that was a question way back in 1973. They're not going to pose that question, but do you at least understand why most whites were on the side of having slaves, even in the North? You know, why were some of the, why would a Southern scratch farmer still support slavery? Why would a Northerner still support slavery? Now, if you can't answer that question, it's a good thing to go back and kind of research a little bit. It's a good thing to review, okay? How do you account for the failure of Reconstruction? If you don't remember the failures of Reconstruction, you go back and review it. So this is a good thing to do, especially over spring break, for those of you prepping for the actual AP exam, to go back and look at these questions to see if you can answer them. Because if you can answer them, then you're well on track. If you can't, then that's a problem. Now, the assignment I have for you is merely looking at these questions. Prove to me you're looking through this, you're starting your preparation. And I would like you to give me 5 questions that you have no clue how to answer. What was the question and the reasons for your confusion? Is it because we never went over it? Is it because it's a concept you never really understood? Are they asking something you've never even heard of? What is it about the question that's really tripping you up? And sometimes you may say, look, I have problems with economics, or I have problems with societal change, or I have problems understanding how the Constitution works, or whatever else. You're just kind of giving me 5 questions, and I would like you to space them out okay, in this past LEQ. When you're going through the past LEQs, I want you to actually like give me one that you can't answer from like unit 2. Give me one that you can't answer from unit 3. Give me the ones that really you have no clue. Like if it came up, you'd be like, I'm out. I have nothing. Okay. Underneath that are an outline for 5 questions. You give me the unit, and again, I want you to spread these out, answer one from, and again, you can kind of skip over units 1 and 9. Usually they don't have too many from those units, but 2 through 8, you're going to have questions. I would focus on units 2 through 6 and even into 7 because we've gone over those units. Okay, because if you still can't answer the questions here, you know, and we've gone over it, that's the problem. Unit 8, you can kind of skip. I would look over it a little bit, but that's not the one that you're like, man, I'm clueless. Of course you are. We haven't gone over it yet. Okay. But outlining, I would get, you know, one from unit 2, one from unit 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you know, like try and do that. And you're just outlining. I do not want you to write the actual essays. You're merely giving me a very archaic outline. Here's what the question is, you know, your unit, the question you're actually answering. You give me a thesis statement, what you mean to prove, what your actual argument's going to be, and then you give me your 3 arguments. That's all you're doing with this. You do that for the first question, you do that for the next one you choose, and you're just choosing from that list. Okay? Those are the 2 assignments over spring break. Now, AP students, that's 300 points right there. Okay? Because each one of these is 150 points. The LEQ and the New Deal programs are both 150 points. So please work on this. The other question that I got, it's not really a question. Somebody pointed out, and I'm not going to call them out. Somebody pointed out that they worked on the bracket activity by researching with somebody else. You do realize I support that because you're getting the work done. What I don't support is student A doing all the work and student B going, let me see that. Can I copy that? So if you've got a friend that you know does pretty solid work and you want to work on the LEQs together, or you want to work on the New Deal programs together, you go right ahead. You know, and do me a favor, do exactly like the 2 of them did in the comments when they handed in their bracket activity. They said, by the way, I worked with so-and-so on this. We both did the research, but we wrote them, and it was obvious that they didn't cut and paste from each other. They wrote it themselves, but obviously off the same research. So they kind of divvied it up and talked about it and then did the project. I'm totally fine with that. I'm not okay with cutting and pasting from somebody else's work. So if you've got a friend that, hey, we can probably divvy up the work and kind of research this, and then you're still working on it together, totally fine. Working together is fine. Copying is not. Okay? So those are the assignments for over spring break. All right. So I had some comments earlier. I want to make sure I cover all of them. Are there any shorter ways to study? Yes. For the person that asked, are there shortcuts to studying? Quizlet is going to be your friend. Okay. Quizlet has so many APUS history starter sets, if you will. I mean, there's all kinds of note cards and review materials within Quizlet. Okay. I would start there. Okay. I would also start reading through chapter summaries. Okay. Chapter summaries or unit summaries, which are on the AP website, AP Classroom. Okay. There are also short little YouTube clips. You can look them up online. Okay. You can just look up APUS history review and videos will pop up of professors, teachers, student groups who are just reviewing the material and getting it out there. So again, I would kind of do that because a lot of times it helps. And especially if you're trying to multitask, because I know you guys are working on other stuff. If you just want it playing on in the background, it still kind of seeps in a little bit. Okay. These videos will help. Sometimes they're just podcasts that are out there specifically set up for AP review. Okay. So again, I understand that some of you are looking for some shortcuts here and there. That's the easiest way. Okay. So everything that has been assigned is due after spring break. Okay. So we should be okay there. When we return from spring break, we're going to do a mini lesson on FDR, and then I'm going to launch right into World War II. Okay. Because we have to get done with our material by the end of April, basically. So we're going to be covering the 20th century awfully fast. Okay. So this is not, it's not going to be exactly the easiest thing in the world to do. All right. Sorry for my little rant earlier. Hopefully it sunk into a few people. And Emma is correct. There are some lifesavers out there. Share resources. That's another thing. Okay. This is good stuff right here where you say, hey, look, I found something. APNotes.net. Okay. APNotes.net gives chapter summaries, gives notes, gives little lectures and stuff. Like there's all kinds of stuff on that website. Okay. That if you're just looking for a quick and easy synopsis of every single chapter, because it mirrors your book, apnotes.net. If you look at the 16th edition, it mirrors your textbook. It literally gives you a breakdown of each one of the chapters, okay? So little resources here and there will help in a major way to get a lot of history in a short amount of time. And obviously, we'll be doing some review sessions here and there after spring break. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay, folks, if you have any questions over grades, if you have any questions over your extensions, if you have any questions over the projects or assignments that have been given out, please feel free to stay behind. For my CCP folks, I'm sorry, I'm just now noticing that you're actually on this call. I should have told you you didn't necessarily have to be here because it was a lot of AP stuff, so my apologies. From now on, I will do a better job of letting you know up front whether or not you need to be here. So sorry, Alyssa, sorry, Sierra. All right, if you don't have any questions, you have a great day. If I don't see you in person, then have a wonderful spring break. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Bye, V.
Bye,
Bye, V.
Bye, V. I'll be back soon.
Oh, I can't wait.
See you, V.
We'll see you, Matthias.